One of the things I love about football, and actually, Chris, one of the few things I think I would be good at, is studying film and looking for a needle that may or may not even be in the haystack. Because when you practice law, one of the most important things you can do is put your eyes on every single document in a case. You're looking for that one thing that's going to change everything. And I always would pride myself on having the diligence to look and look and look and find that one thing. And that very low-tech simplicity exists in football when you're watching film for anything that helps you understand the patterns and the trends that teams are showing you through the way their players line up or the things they do. Bill Belichick explaining a key that former Giants linebacker Carl Banks brought to him related to something that former Eagles tight end John Spagnuolo had a habit of doing. Have a listen. This is Bill Belichick from the Pivot Podcast.
Best key I've ever seen. Banks comes up to me when I'm Giants. Banks comes up to me and we're playing the Eagles, and of course play them twice a year. There's no free agency, so it's the same team every year. Banks comes up to me and says, when Spagnuolo comes up, puts his arm here like this, it's a run. And when he wiggles his fingers, it's a pass. I'm like, come on.
No chance.
Are you kidding me? He goes, I know. Just check it out. I'm like, all right. So I look at all the end zone film, and I'm like, God, it's unbelievable. We go play the Eagles. First series, we come off the field, defense, we get a 3-and-out, come off field, and Banks is, he's still doing it. We play him the next year, or, play him a second time around, go into the game, first series. Coach, he's still doing it. I mean, I've never seen anything like this. It was crazy.
Okay, 3 quick points. One, I don't know why he's so surprised by it, because we hear stories like that all the time, and he's been around for 50 years. 2, I'm surprised he didn't see it instead of Carl Banks, because that would be the kind of thing that Belichick would notice. And 3, Chris, this is a reality of the days when players weren't changing teams.
That's right.
All it would have taken was one Giant to sign with the Eagles as a free agent, and John Spagnuolo isn't wiggling his fingers no more on a pass play.
Oh, that's right. And I think Belichick, where he's surprised probably is to your point, he's seen that before. But when it starts to become like 100% conclusive, where you're like, wait, I watched 95 plays, and 95 of them, he did exactly that. That's when it becomes shocking, right? Because you can find tells like that on film, but you'll see, tells, and you'll go, wait, it's not foolproof. It's like 8 out of 10 times or 7 out of 10 times that it's right there. But it does let you have some knowledge there. But that is the beauty of the old days, right? I mean, while we're sitting here, I'm telling my dad, he'll tell you stories too, playing that Eagles defense, early years of Buddy Ryan, get it going. He said he used to get done with games and they'd watch film the next day, and the coaches would be like, how did you read this? How the hell? We didn't talk about this all week. And he didn't want to tell the coaches because he wanted to sound like smart or good or whatever. But because it was the same guys, the same defense, all that, he started to learn their signals and their checks. So he'd go, oh, wait, they're in this defense, but I heard that word. They're going to switch to something else when I say said hut, and the coaches be amazed. But yeah, those are kind of the old days when it was personal and teams didn't change. There was a lot of that, or players didn't change. There was a lot of that going on.
The most recent tell that was a big deal was the way Ben Roethlisberger would stand in shotgun.
You're right.
Remember that late in his career?
Yeah.
He'd be flat-footed for a handoff,
Yep.
and he'd have one foot trailing
Yep.
the other on a pass. And I remember talking about it because how much of that can you really notice? You're looking at a very small, obscure part of the guy's body that's down on the ground behind the line. How much time do you have to react? But it was there.
It was
You'd watch
there.
those plays.
No doubt.
Flat-footed for a handoff and foot and leg back and up on his toe when it was a pass.
You want to buy into all of that, right? But at the same time, you still got to go, wait, I got to do my job and do all that because, again, you might buy into it And I've been in some games. I'll tell you a game in 2004. We're playing the Arizona Cardinals. Emmitt Smith's last game of the year. We think we have a tell on something they do, right? As far as how they line up, the linebacker and the defense end. Gruden thinks he's got it. We got him. We're going to do everything around this. When they do this, we know what they're doing. Well, somebody told Arizona that week in preparation because we got out there in the third play of the game and we were all ready and we had all these rules. And I remember going underneath the center going, oh, crap, this ain't the same. And I remember looking over at Gruden like, hey, your game plan's screwed. What the hell do I do now? Right? So you just hope to not be that guy that gets unlucky that week where the team figures it out.
Did you ever have like one of those eureka moments when you were studying film, if you ever did, where you noticed something somebody did that you exploited?
Yes, I did. And I did study film, right? I like to do that more than read books or do anything like that. There was always nickelbacks every now and then in the slot would give you a tell sometimes with how they played position-wise. I think the story I think is best that you'll remember is we played the Carolina Panthers in 2005. I watch, Inside the NFL after we play them, right, on Tuesday or Wednesday, because it was the only highlight show out there. And as I'm watching it, I'm realizing that they are mic'd up on the sideline, and the Panthers are talking about, hey, he checked to this, blah, blah, blah. We heard him check to this. We knew this was coming. And I was like, damn, they knew our checks, right? So we played them about 5 weeks later, and when we got to that week, I told Gruden, I said, hey, you got to watch Inside the NFL. They were all over some of our stuff. We knew it. So we gave dummy checks in that game, right? Where I came out and said the same thing, and they were like, oh, we got them, and they checked to a defense, and my dummy check was really a check to screw them over because they were in that defense now, and you got them, and that was one of my favorite, one of my few that I've ever had in my life, which was fun.
It just underscores the whole cloak and dagger nature of the NFL and how success on the field is premised on fooling the opponent. And that is one of the reasons why I think there are so many liars in the NFL. Because this whole strategy of fooling people, it translates to personnel moves. It spills over into everything. And I think for some guys, they don't know when the lying that is acceptable ends and the lying that isn't acceptable begins. All right. I love that aspect of the game.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And again, I would be a fish out of water with so much that relates to football as it's coaching and personnel. But the one thing that they would say, go do it, I would study that freaking film until I found all those keys. Whatever it is, I would see it. It's like that puzzle where you got the two pictures and you got to figure out what's different. I always love that.
Yeah.
Like it's just you got to look at both and they start popping out where the differences are, and those can be extrapolated into something useful to a football team. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.